All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a piece of tech trying to solve a huge problem. How do you get Ethereum, the world's biggest smart contract platform, to actually work for big business? The answer might just be something called Hyperledger Besu.
Okay, so here's the fundamental issue. Ethereum is amazing because it's open, it's transparent, but if you're a big company, that transparency can be a massive headache. How in the world are you supposed to use this incredible tech when your entire business relies on keeping secrets and controlling who gets in the door?
And this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the public network ethos, total transparency. Anybody can join. It's all about decentralization. But on the other side, you have what a business actually needs: keeping data confidential, locking down access, and knowing for sure that a transaction is final. I mean, these two worlds seem like they're from different planets. So, how do you bridge that gap? Well, that's exactly where Hyperledger Besu steps in. It's designed from the ground up to be the connection between the public world of Ethereum and the private, walled garden needs of an enterprise.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, at its core, Besu is an open-source Ethereum client. It's written in Java, and it's part of the Hyperledger Foundation. But the magic words there are enterprise-friendly. It's built to do two things. It can play on the public Ethereum mainnet, and it can be the engine for a company's own secure private network. And this right here, this is Besu's superpower. It's one single piece of software for two completely different worlds. A company can use the exact same tool to connect to the public chain as they do to run their own internal, high-security private chain. That kind of flexibility is an absolute game changer. But how does it actually do it? I mean, it's not just about having two modes. It's about the very specific tools it gives businesses. So let's pop the hood and look at its enterprise-ready toolkit. You can really boil Besu's enterprise magic down to three foundational pillars. First, you need certainty, knowing your transactions are final, period. Next, you need control over who can even get on your network. And finally, you absolutely need privacy to protect sensitive business data. Let's dig into that first pillar, certainty. In the business world, you just can't have transactions that might get reversed. That's a non-starter. You need them to be instant and irreversible. And to do that, Besu uses a totally different approach than public Ethereum, using something called proof of authority. This is where proof of authority, or POA, comes into play. So instead of anonymous miners, POA networks use a known, trusted set of validators to approve everything. Now, Besu supports a few types, but the one that really matters for enterprises is QBFT. It's Byzantine fault tolerant, which is a fancy way of saying it can handle some bad actors, and it gives you that immediate finality we talked about. It's the go-to choice for any serious production-level network. Okay, so QBFT gives you certainty. Awesome. But next, you have to control who's even allowed on your network in the first place. This brings us to pillar number 2, permissioning for control. This isn't an open-door party. This is more like a secure, members-only club. And Besu gives you two really sophisticated ways to handle this. You can use local permissioning, which is like putting a bouncer at the door of one specific node. Great for quick, targeted rules. But for the really big stuff, there's on-chain permissioning. This is where the access rules are baked right into a smart contract, creating a single source of truth for the entire network. It's incredibly powerful, especially for consortiums. So we've got certainty, we've got control, but what about the actual data inside the transactions? You can't just be broadcasting your company's secret sauce or supply chain logistics for everyone to see. And that takes us to our third and final pillar, privacy for confidentiality. So how does this even work without breaking the whole blockchain idea? It's actually a pretty clever three-step dance. First off, the sensitive data never, ever touches the main blockchain. It gets sent to a separate private layer. Then a public marker transaction is put on the chain. Think of it like a little note that just says, hey, a private thing happened over here. And finally, the actual private data is shared securely off-chain, peer-to-peer, only between the people who are supposed to see it. Okay, so that all sounds great on paper, right? A powerful toolkit. But how does it hold up when it gets put to the test in the real world? Let's take a look. The short answer is, it's holding up really well, and adoption is happening all over the place. No surprise, finance is the big one here, making up a huge 40% slice of the pie. But we're also seeing Besu pop up in government, in supply chain, in digital identity. It's proving to be incredibly versatile. But to really see the power here, let's zoom in on a massive, high-stakes example, the Drex initiative, which comes from Brazil's central bank. And look, this is not some small pilot program. We are talking about the foundation for a national central bank digital currency. A version of Besu is right there in the middle of it, handling secure, tokenized transactions for an entire country. I mean, that's about as mission critical as it gets.
Pretty amazing stuff, but you know how tech is, it never sits still. So, with that kind of success already in the bag, what's next for Besu? Where does it go from here?
Well, one of the best ways to tell if an open source project has legs is to look at its community. As of mid-2025, Besu has over 230 people who have contributed to the project. That tells you this isn't some static tool sitting on a shelf. It's a living, breathing project with a global community pushing it forward every single day.
And that community is laser-focused on some really key improvements. They're working on making data access way more efficient, beefing up support for Layer 2 scaling, and, this is a big one, growing a plugin ecosystem so developers can customize Besu for even more specific jobs. It's all about making it faster, smaller, and more flexible.
So, let's bring it all home. We've seen the clash between public and private needs. We've seen Besu's three-pillar solution of certainty, control, and privacy. We've seen it at work in one of the biggest financial projects on the planet, and we know it has a vibrant future. So that leaves us with the big question to chew on. Is Hyperledger Besu the bridge, the one that will finally bring blockchain into the enterprise mainstream? Definitely something to think about.